welcome back to the Fenway Focus. My name is Derek. As always, I'm here with Jason, and this is, this is going to be an interesting one. The Red Sox had a week where they went 3-3 against the Seattle Mariners and the Cleveland Guardians. The Red Sox went 1-2 against the Mariners, and they lost the first game against the Guardians, making it 3 losses in a row with the last 2 games of the Mariners series, but then they won the last 2 against Cleveland, including a 13-3 thumping of Cleveland, which may or may not be a little bit of a theme where it feels like one series there's been just like a blowout game in every series that there's been at least one. Kind of dating back to the Cardinals series at the Sunday Night Baseball game. The Blue Jays didn't really have one that series, but then the White Sox, the 11-1 game, the Rays, the 16-1 loss, the next White Sox series, the 10-3 win, the Seattle 8-3 is not really a blowout. Then the Cleveland 13-3. So I did see that was interesting. But Jason, how are you doing? And just a brief overview on this past week for the Red Sox.
I'm good. I think the biggest thing that I've been reflecting on this week, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I think that's especially true because we're in April. Sure, the Sox are hovering around 500. They haven't really gone below, but they're kind of 2-3 games above, 1 game above. Exactly. Some of these losses are bad, but some of these wins are pretty good too. Like the 13-3 victory over Cleveland yesterday was pretty good. But yeah, I think this week it felt like a feel-good week because of how it ended. Because I think, not to harp over the fact that some of these losses were I'm pretty bad. Like, it's about how you finish, and if you finish good, you're gonna feel good. I think the other thing is you're gonna have starts like the Crochet start on Thursday, where he doesn't have his best stuff at the park, and that really cost, and a defensive kind of misplay kind of costed them. But at the same time, if you're wondering, they didn't make an error, but Campbell kind of misplayed a ball on the wall in the first inning, which some experience would have helped. But overall, I think the Guardians series, it started bad with the first game losing, but hey, they made it up. They made up for it, and they capitalized on 4 Guardians errors. So that's pretty good. I need to see something. The Red Sox only made 2 errors this week.
I know, shocking.
But one of them was also, I would say 3, because one of them was kind of a misplay with Campbell, but it's not on the record book, so we're going to go with 2. And they're all in the Wednesday game against the Mariners.
Which would figure. That's kind of in the story. Remember, we talked about that week where they had like the 5-error game against the White Sox. It's like, they had like 7 or 8 errors that week, but like 5 of them were in one game. So it's like, it's been weird almost. It's like the errors, like, they've been an issue, but it's like they'll just have like a game where they put up like 2 or 3 or whatever. Like this week, put up all your errors pretty much in one game. Like, that's, so it's weird. It's interesting. Let's talk a little bit about this week as a whole. I want to kind of touch on the week as a whole. I know we've been kind of going like kind of series by series, for the most part, breaking down both series. But I want to talk about the week as a whole, and I want to talk about some player performances. And I kind of want to do this too because I have a question for you. The Red Sox had a couple guys who have been struggling, who had high expectations, and Tristan Casas especially, but Jarren Duran as well. Duran this week had 28 at-bats. He went 12 for 28. He had 3 doubles, 2 triples. He also drew 2 walks. Stole 3 bases, including a steal home. His slash line this week was 429, 467, 679. And then Tristan Casas only played in 4 games, 11 at-bats, but he had 3 hits, 2 of them being home runs. He also drew 4 walks this week. And in total, that gets him a 273, 500, 818 slash line for this week. Obviously, both super small sample sizes. But do you think that both of these guys are maybe potentially turning a corner and kind of getting into the groove of things? Because those are 2 very key pieces for this Red Sox offense.
Well, Casas always struggles in April, right? You saw that in 23. 24, he was having a slow start. But then when he came back, I feel like it was kind of derailed by the fact that he got hurt and the whole pain tolerance thing. That thing is like, kind of an outlier in a way. But still, I mean, you saw at the end of the year, he had 2 3-run homers in the game in 2024. I forget what series that was. Point being, I'm not too worried yet. If you flip the page and where we're at, April 28th, and we're talking about a guy kind of still figuring out his footing who has a lot of potential. If it were May 28th and we're having this conversation, then you start to get worried. But they have a whole month, especially with Casas. He has a whole month to kind of figure it out. They're moving him in the 7-hole, an 8-hole, I think, for a game even. I think it's more 6 and 7. 6, 7. But then Duran is like, yeah, you know what type of player he has, his speed. I think the hits are going to come, especially the ball's going to fly more as the weather starts getting even warmer too. I think that's a factor that people aren't seeing. If he gets on base, good freaking luck. Especially, you said 2 triples this week? That's in his last
2 triples.
Yeah.
3 doubles, 2 triples.
3 doubles, 2 triples. That goes to show. And one of them was just a line drive down the right field line, if I recall correctly, against the Guardians. So he's still a threat on the bases. I'm not worried about him. He's not, I wouldn't say he's struggling. He's just not off to the scorching hot start that everyone expected him to be the leadoff hitter, be the leader of this team, the 9-WAR Jarren Duran that we knew from last season. I think that comes with time too. What is he batting season-wise? Like 240, 250? Like, it's going to come with time, I think. Just, you can't be worried about
276 now. So
276. Point being,
which I don't get me wrong. I think that week did definitely have a big help.
But point stands, you can't be too worried about what goes on now. I think because we're only in April, and what did I say in the beginning of the show? It's a marathon, not a sprint. And a team like the Mets, where it's like the Mets are scorching hot, right? I mean, they just lost 2 out of 3 or actually, no, they still have a series against Washington. They're 19-9, but a lot of it is like, Juan Soto is very cold right now, right? Like, Francisco Lindor is not the MVP candidate we see. Like, don't be shocked if in June they hit a big slump. And don't be shocked if the opposite thing happens for the Red Sox, where some other person, heats up. Some other person has a good day, right? Or has a good month. Don't be shocked if someone gets called up. Don't be shocked if a Luis Guerrero emerges as a nice 9th inning option, 1A and 1B with Chapman. Don't be shocked if Lucas Giolito figures out his stuff. And, specifically to your point, the offense. Don't be shocked if Tristan Casas starts to heat up. Don't be shocked if, I don't know, like Christian Campbell's only going to be good. He's going to get much better. But I'm very happy with where they are now, because it goes to show the $1 million question is, can they sustain this? They're 16-14 right now. Not great. Standings don't matter right now. I wouldn't say not great. It's not amazing. It's not bad either. It's not as bad as years past, where you get into a hole early on, and then late April, early May, mid-May, you're trying so hard to make up that ground, right? Take away the White Sox series. They're like, it's a whole, if they win 2 more of those White Sox games, I think it's a completely different team and completely different outlook, right? Because they'd be 18-12. 18-12 is like a 2-win difference, but like that 18-12 looks so much better than 16-14 on paper, right? And
the thing is, too, a 16-14 team, if you put that over 162 games, it's about 85, 86 wins. 18-12 changes 85, 86 to 97, right?
That's why it's early.
But the thing is, though, is it's those small margins, right? Over a course of a season, it is those small margins that make a difference, right? 1 or 2 games here and there. Like, basically, over the course of the month, 1 or 2 games a month could be the difference between you being a playoff team and you missing out entirely. It could be the difference between you winning your division and missing the playoffs. 1 or 2 games a month, right? Maybe 1, 2, 3 games a month. Like, that could be the difference, every month of, like, you winning the division, or you making the playoffs, or total just missing out on the playoffs and being around 500. That's the big thing. The other thing, too, like to hit on, too, just if we want to stick on kind of the offensive side of things right now, Rafaela had a nice week. He had 6 hits, double and a homer. He only struck out twice as well this week, and he drew a walk. 2 stolen bases as well, right? That's a big one for him. Willier had he had a double and a homer which were 2 of his 4 hits, and he also stole 2 bases as well. But I think for me, Raffy, I know he only had 5 hits this week, but a double and 2 homers. He drew 5 walks as well. Did strike out 7 times, but overall, like still solid week. Christian Campbell had a down week but he still had 2 doubles, 5
We
hits.
had a huge double to break one of the games open.
Exactly. Story didn't have a great week. He only went 1 for 25, 11 strikeouts. But like those weeks are going to happen with Story, right? It's not a concern. But I think kind of the biggest story this week, and all honesty, I know Ref Snyder had the homer. Bregman had a really nice week as well, which we might talk about him. So he had 10 hits this week, 4 doubles and a homer. Carlos Narvaez had a very solid week. He went 4 for 15. He had a homer. He only struck out 3 times, also drew a walk. His slash line this week, 267, 313, 467, 780 OPS. If he can continue at performing at around that clip offensively, the Red Sox will be fine. I know Connor Wong's going to be starting a rehab assignment, right? But if he can do that, and then you can kind of get Wong back into the fold, they have Yasmani Grandal in AAA right now. The catching situation already looks better than it did on opening day. If Connor Wong comes back healthy, Narvaez doing what he's, can continue what he's been doing this week. But even at worst, being a solid defensive catcher at worst, you have Grandal with that experience, that former all-star in AAA, who's a veteran. He's still got to work his way through some kinks because this is basically his spring training almost, because he just signed a couple weeks ago.
I also think the part you're missing is Wong's on a rehab.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's what I said. So he'll be back soon.
He'll be back soon, and it's in Cora said Narvaez is still going to get a lot of playing time, and that's good. And I saw defensive runs saved, Carlos Narvaez has 6, which is something you harp on this whole defense issue. Boom. No.
Yeah, it saves you, especially at a catcher position where last year it was Connor Wong and Reese McGuire who both had their struggles.
And and the other thing is also relationships with pitchers too. That's a big thing too. Now, Crochet kind of struggled, but how much of that was catch? Whatever. But I think the other thing about catching is he's such a better framer than Wong. You can just see it. He can throw runners out. It's great. I like what I'm seeing out of Narvaez, and for someone who the Red Sox traded a pitching prospect with kind of semi-high upside in Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, they got a really good catcher out of it. And Sox prospects, I believe he's ranked 28th in the top, 26 or something.
It's something like that.
The Sox prospects, whatever. He's shown that he can establish himself as a solid 1B major league catcher, at least so far. And the thing is, with the bat, he's not going to have a good bat necessarily because his stuff's defense. But at the same time, it's sure, he has pop. There's a difference between being a good defensive catcher and not hitting a lick, Martin Maldonado, and a guy who's not known for his guy who's really good defense and has some pop. That's Carlos Narvaez, who will piss another team off with a home run or extra base hit out of nowhere and will give you a good at-bat every time and will draw a few walks here and there. That's all you can ask for. It's hard to get a good all-around catcher. Narvaez has been really solid so far. Obviously, we got to see what he does. How he's going to be incorporated with Wong is going to be interesting, but time will tell.
Yeah, I do want to move on to the pitching side here because I want to focus on the Red Sox bullpen here. Because this bullpen has performed out, at least the back end, right? Your Chapman, Slayton, Whitlock mix. And Liam Hendricks, obviously, I know he had the rough first outing. But this week, Liam Hendricks did not look great, right? But he pitched in 3 games, only gave up 1 hit, didn't give up any runs. I know he walked 4 in 3 innings. It's a little bit concerning. But at the same time, let's give it a little bit of time when they're not going to chuck Liam Hendricks.
The dude hasn't pitched in 3 years.
Pretty much. Exactly. And I think that's the other thing too, right? That he really hasn't pitched in 3 years. Really hasn't. But Aroldis Chapman has been lights out so far this year. 1.74 ERA in 12 games, 4 saves. Chapman has been everything that the Red Sox could have asked for out of him. and maybe even more. In all honesty, Chapman
Dude.
has been that good. I mean, let's just put it like this with Chapman, right? Because here's the thing: I know a lot of people. When Red Sox got Chapman, it was like, oh, we don't really want him. I know, obviously, former Yankee too, with some baggage, but like the numbers back it up. He's got a 237 FIP this year, and he's got a 207 Sierra. Like, the numbers back it up. I know he's a relief pitcher. He's only thrown 10 in the third innings, but like, still, like, it still says something. He's at 38% strikeout rate as well. This year. That's big for the Red Sox. Like, really big for the Red Sox. You go and look at Garrett Whitlock. He has a 172 ERA this year, right? And Whitlock, 278 expected ERA. Sorry, 177 FIP for Whitlock this year. 177 FIP. And then a 270 Sierra. That, like, Whitlock has been lights out. He's pitched 15 and 2/3 innings so far this year. And then Slayton's numbers are a little bit hurt from the that weird outing where like the
Baltimore outing. If you take out that Baltimore outing, holy crap, he's been insane.
But he still has a 360 ERA. He's got a 185 FIP, right? That's a little bit more indicative.
That number, the number that sticks out to me is his 0.6 WHIP.
Yes, exactly.
Dude,
right, and that's
insane.
That's the point I'm making, right? Like the 185 FIP for Slayton is the number really to look at, not the ERA, right?
Right.
Because of that Baltimore outing. That back end of the Red Sox bullpen has been like stellar, right? And
look at Savant, by the way, on Slayton. He's not qualified yet for a lot because he only is in 11 games.
But
there's a lot of red.
Yeah. For sure, right? And like this is a Red Sox team. You add Luis Guerrero into the mix, and I love me some Luis Guerrero this week. And his
Greg Weissert hasn't been that bad either.
No, Weissert this week actually. We'll get to Weissert. So Guerrero this week, 2 outings, 3 innings, only gave up 1 hit, no walks, which is a big thing for him. 3 strikeouts, no runs. And then Greg Weissert, he went 3 outings this weekend, 2 and 2/3 innings, no runs, just the 1 walk and 4 strikeouts. Right. I think when like the bullpen's starting to piece itself together a little bit. Don't get me wrong. Do I think this is a Red Sox team where at the trade deadline they could add a bullpen piece? Absolutely. But like you could say that about literally every single team.
You can never have too much pitching.
Yes, you can never have too much pitching, right? And I think Luis Guerrero is going to help in this mix of arms in the bullpen because I have faith in Luis Guerrero. He actually currently has a career 0 ERA in the big leagues as of right now. Luis Guerrero. So shout out Luis Guerrero for that one. Career 0 ERA in the big leagues in 12 appearances, 9 last year, and 11, 9 last year, 2 this year. So like that's big. The other thing I do want to mention too, because I do think this is somewhat important to mention, just because his name was brought up a lot. Brian Mata, stats wise, hasn't had the greatest start to life in AAA. At least this season hasn't had the greatest. He's at 6.75 ERA. The strikeout stuff is still there, but walking a boatload of people and is giving up a lot of hits, right? A little bit, so he's kind of working himself into trouble. But Nick Birdie has been lights out in AAA. He's at 0.73 ERA in 12 and 1/3 innings out of the bullpen. 17 strikeouts, only 3 walks. He's only given up 1 run, right? Like he has been lights out in AAA. That's another guy that could get a look. Wyatt Mills has looked solid as well in that bullpen, right? So it's going to be the Red Sox have some options. I know Zach Kelly just got rocked in AAA, but so that's a guy who's been on the big league roster before. He's going to be another option for them as well, right? Fulmer, we'll see what happens with him. I know Fulmer got he declared free agency actually, didn't he? Right?
He's with the Cubs right now.
Agency. My bad. My memory is gone. But it's not Fulmer. It's I wasn't thinking about Fulmer. I was thinking about Robert Stock. Sorry, Stock has had a really good start to life in AAA, and I know he's gonna, he's 35, but like it's a depth arm, right? You know, he had the 2 innings for the Red Sox where he went out and gave up a run, but the 2 inning, like that's an important thing, right? Eat a couple of things. Like Stock's gonna be that kind of guy, like for Cooper Criswell, right? Cooper Criswell might not be used for a spot start this year, but he might come up and help that bullpen, right? Eat some innings maybe when it's needed. So the bullpen options they have, and obviously, you still have Justin Wilson. I know this week he gave up 2 runs this week, but Justin Wilson has not been like, I don't think he's been amazing by any means, but like
he's been great. He's been a good lefty arm.
He's been all right, right? I mean, like I said, I'm not the biggest Justin Wilson person, but I mean, you take a veteran lefty in your bullpen. No, I mean, but like this week it was a little bit rough this week. He's been good for the most part, but like he's not gonna he's not gonna like blow your socks off. Is what I mean. He's not gonna blow your socks off. He's not gonna do anything where it's like, oh my god, this guy's amazing. He's solid veteran lefty, right? Can't complain about having that on your team. So I think this Red Sox bullpen might be in a better shape than even we were expecting it to be. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I think I lost you. I can't talk, but I don't know. I think the biggest thing, I don't know what you said, but I'm just going to pretend that I know what you said. I think the interesting thing is with roster spots. I don't know what you said. I still can't hear
I was
you.
just talking about the bullpen. I was
The
just
one
talking
thing
about the
that
bullpen.
I can't hear
think the
you.
bullpen's
Sorry.
more. I think the
Unmute
bullpen's in a
yourself
better
and mute
spot
yourself
than we
again.
thought it was. I was
Oh, wait,
saying
I got you.
I think the
Say
bullpen's in a better spot than what we.
Yeah.
I was saying I think
Yeah,
the
no, it
bullpen's in a
is.
better
Absolutely.
spot than what we thought it would.
Yeah, no, I got you.
At
I
this
got
point in the
you.
season.
Okay. So my take on that is I think the biggest thing is they gotta show up later. Their pitching is really good early on, and then it starts to decline. But I mean, look at Weissert last year. He had a really good start, then he fell off. He crumbled like a cookie. If he's good right now, are we gonna see that June Weissert where he's just gonna mop up role and he's gonna eat innings? I don't know. Are we gonna see Justin Wilson decline? I don't know. Are we gonna see Aroldis Chapman start to decline? That's the biggest thing. And I think sustainability, especially with the closer, is huge. Matt Barnes in 2021 was lights out in the first half. Second half, he was not. He was sucked. You and I can attest. He was awful. Like with all due respect to Matt Barnes, like that if you have a closer, it's great. If you have a closer with no experience for the full season, that's bad. Aroldis Chapman hasn't experienced to be a closer for a full season. But yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting now that where is Sean Newcomb gonna fit in all this? Because is he worth putting? He's a rotation arm now. Is he worth keeping in the bullpen? If so, who are they gonna move with Giolito set to start on Tuesday, tomorrow? I don't know. I don't know what they do, Derek. Like I swear, I think unfortunately Newcomb might get DFA'd because that's the business. Some teams probably gonna pick him up at least because I think we'll get into it later. Like his stuff's pretty good. It's just locating it. That's what he struggles with. He's not some all-star pitcher, but he's done a solid job. And I feel like in a mop-up role in the bullpen, he could be solid. I don't know. They don't really have a long relief arm right now. Yeah, they don't really have one. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Yeah, we'll see. I think going forward, want to talk about starting rotation. Winkowski's not on the roster.
Yeah, well, I want to just talk on Brian Bayo. I just want to talk on Brian Bayo real quick. Wait, Winkowski's not. Oh crap! I forgot he did. Oh god, jeez, Louise, he did get sent back down. Jesus.
No, he's not. Look at the
bullpen. You know how much
look at the active roster
Josh
bullpen.
Winkowski. No, I know. I see it now. No, you realize how much I hate Josh Winkowski that I just immediately name him to get sent down. Just immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe Guerrero just because like he's the least experienced and they know that like they can send him to AAA, have him, work on some stuff in AAA and then just come back up. Not that he needs to work on stuff, but you get what I mean, right? It could be that just because Wilson can't be sent down, Newcomb can't be. Bernardino Weiser only have one option left. Entering this year, although, so I mean, they might want to try to not burn it. I'll put it like this though. We'll talk about the rotation because I do want to touch on Brian Bayo. Not the cleanest of starts for him. His two starts weren't the cleanest, but I mean, starts 2 games, gets 2 wins, 11 innings combined. Did give up 10 hits in those starts. He did walk 6 to only 7 strikeouts. Did give up 2 homers, but he only gave up 4 runs, right? And I think overall, Bayo's only going to get better. He's only going to take steps forward So
I
think in that
yeah,
case,
in a way. I
when
think
you look at the Red Sox
the
rotation
other thing you got to
outlook,
look at too
having
is
a healthy
his
and
FIP. His
good
FIP's
Brian
not
Bayo
great. His FIP is
is going to be paramount to
632,
their success this year. I think that's
and
kind of a
his ERA is 327.
key.
Only 2 games, but kind of notable. 2 homers already given up. Can he sustain it? Maybe. How many of them were day starts? I don't remember. But whatever. I don't want to. I don't want to think about that right now. So, I think the biggest thing to worry about with Bayo is, can he get his stuff in order? Because if he can get his stuff in order, I think you're looking at a really good. You're looking at a really good team, and if he can be not necessarily an innings eater, but if he can, be a solid number 4 guy, because you're maybe number 3 guy, because at the end of the day, if you look at some of these other guys, Crochet is your ace, your number 2 probably Bueller. Houck needs to figure his stuff out now. Time's running out with him. So I think the biggest issue that I'm seeing is getting the depth around him. And Giolito's coming back. He was Bayo was supposed to be was basically the number 1 last year coming into the season. He was the opening day starter before Houck and Crawford kind of emerged. This year, it's kind of like, oh, you already have the number 1, you already have your number 2, you already have your number 3. Then there's Brian Bayo and Lucas Giolito. And by the way, Giolito was supposed to be your number 1 last year. So I think it's going to be interesting. Yeah. So I think it's going to be crucial to see how he adjusts, how other, because I think the other thing is too interesting, notable about Bayo is that Cora kind of came out and said, we're not developing him anymore. He's going to be, we know what he is, right? We know what he is. Like, he hasn't had an ERA below 4 in his career, below 450, I don't think, in a season. So I don't know where they go from here with him. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see, how he also adapts. So I think the other, and I keep saying, oh, there's another thing. There's so many things we can say about Bayo. He's a ground ball pitcher. How is this defense going to adapt? His swing and miss, his changeup. There's a lot of things that he can do. But I think one of the main things that I recognize in his first few starts is, the stuff is there. It's just he needs to settle in, because he was behind, right? He was behind in spring training. He was behind because of, I think, a lat issue. I think I could be very much wrong here, but I think when you look at the landscape of things, as Derrik is nowhere to be found, I don't know where he is. I'm just going to keep yapping about Brian Bayo until he either joins or does something. I don't know where the hell he is. I think it's going to be an interesting season for him. But Giolito, I want to talk about Giolito coming back, because Giolito, his presence is going to be massive. And he kind of struggled in his rehab. I don't know if struggling is the right word for Lucas Giolito coming back. I think he walked a bunch of guys, and he gave up some runs, but kind of settled in his last Woo Sox start. But coming back tomorrow, or Tuesday the 29th, against a Toronto team, which been mid, but you already looked at them. You already got a first glance of their hitters this season. You know what kind of to expect now. And we shouldn't really expect the moon from Giolito. I think 5 innings is a realistic cap for someone who hasn't really pitched. He hasn't pitched at all since 2023. I think you're looking at someone who is a 5 starter, and he's going to provide solid pitching. That's all you can ask from him. As Derrik comes back, hopefully he can talk. Derrik?
Yeah,
No.
I'm with you. I think with Giolito too, we just have to play it by ear. It's
Derrik.
As
God.
My screen is literally lagging.
Okay. What do you have to say about Giolito? Ba, ba, ba. Derek.
As my screen's literally lagging.
God dang it. Turn off your camera.
So we're having some great technical difficulties here. We're working on it. Who the heck knows what's happening? You still.
Okay, your stream is lagging. All right, I got you on the phone. Let's give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I got you. I shut my volume off. I got you.
I'm putting the phone on the mic. This would be a funny ass episode.
Oh my god, it's gonna be hilarious. Yeah, we're having technical difficulties where I've switched Wi-Fi networks. Sometimes college just kicks you in the butt. But I did kind of hear what you're saying on Giolito, and I do think we have to take it time by time. Take it one start at a time with him, because he hasn't pitched in the big leagues, and he hasn't pitched well. He really hasn't pitched well in the big leagues for a while. You could make the argument with the White Sox. He had a decent stretch in 23 before the kind of blow-ups happened with the Angels and Guardians. But I still think it's something that needs to be taken taken it needs to be day by day, I think, with him. Let's not chuck expectations on him too quickly. This is a strong rotation for the Red Sox if everything goes right. With Crochet out, we'll see how he looks. But outside of the first inning in his last two starts, he hasn't been god-awful. Buehler obviously had a really good start on Patriots Day. Bayo, I think he's only going to get better. And then obviously Giolito being a veteran innings eater, right? So I think that there's a legitimate chance for the Red Sox to have a strong rotation. Newcomb on it, and Newcomb wasn't pitching bad either, right? He knows that that's kind of just a little bit of a what's the right saying? Who knows? It might be a little bit of a fluke. It might not be. Who knows? We'll see how it turns out. But I think it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah. So let me preview the next week. Red Sox off on Monday. Tuesday, Derek Crochet starting against Bowden Francis at Toronto. Wednesday's Giolito. I said Tuesday was Giolito. I meant Wednesday. My days. And then Paxton Schultz for Toronto. Thursday, Tanner Houck versus Jose Barrios. Friday, the Sox go play Minnesota at home. Maybe I'll be in attendance on the Sunday game. I haven't decided yet. Minnesota, Walker Buehler versus Joe Ryan. Saturday, Bayo versus Ober. Sunday, it's a Crochet versus Paddock day. Maybe I'll go there. Derek, what do you got this week, prediction wise? I'll start with. Actually, no, you start. Go.
With this week, I'm just saying this episode's gonna be wild. That's going on technical difficulties, but I think Crochet's gonna have a bounce back start. And this is a 2-week start for Derek Crochet as well, right? Because it's a 2-week start. It's a 2-start week for Garrett Crochet. I'm going with the Red Sox having a 4-2 week. Part of me really wants to say 5-1 and just be like, let's go. 5-1, go for it. But Giolito does concern me a little bit. Houck's been shaky this year, pretty much all year. Bayo is it's only his third start coming off the injured list. So, and they're not playing easy teams. The Blue Jays, I know aren't the best team in the world, but when you have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in your lineup, he can win a game. He can put that team on his back if he really needs to, right?
Right.
Minnesota's a little bit different because I know Correa's had a really rough start to the year for the most part. So Minnesota doesn't have that Vladdy-esque player, but if Minnesota's offense is clicking on all cylinders, they can be scary as well. So I think it's going to be an interesting week for the Red Sox. I think their pitchers are going to have to be on point. That Minnesota series, they're facing both Joe Ryan and Bailey Ober, so it's going to be interesting to see how that works. But like I said, I think the Red Sox are going to take. I think they're going to take I mean, yeah,
Or
oh my gosh, I can't get it out. I'm going to take 4 out of 6. And I think it'll be overall. I think we're going to come back at the end of the week and we're going to, be like, oh, that was a good week for the Red Sox. Also, fun note for the Red Sox, or at least for Red Sox fans, Red Sox get to face Christian Vasquez and Mickey Gasper. So I'll use this time to say a shout out to Mickey Gasper because he has gotten his first career hit in case you've been living under a rock. He got his first career hit, so that was nice. And then he's still working on getting his first big league homer.
Yeah.
Will it happen against the Red Sox?
Probably.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going 4-2 this week.
I echo everything you say. I got 5-1. Why the hell not? Get good. Get good starting pitching. They have a lot of good guys. Houck really is the only one that scares me, and Giolito. Other than that, I'm excited. Bayo's pitching at home. So I got 5-1. Both Crochet starts wins. So yeah. Time for our lull moment of the week. So Sean Newcomb, I already mentioned before, has great stuff. Yeah. In his appearance, I think yesterday, 4-seam fastball, 7 times. He threw 16 pitches. He threw his 4-seamer 7 times, slurve 5 times, cutter 2 times, and his changeup 1 time. Now, you might be saying that's 15 if you can do quick math in your head. What about the other pitch? Well, according to Baseball Savant, they don't know what he threw for one of his pitches. It just says unknown. So, what could it be? I don't know. Maybe it was his slurve. Maybe it was a changeup. Maybe it was a splinker. Whatever the term they use now. I don't know.
Maybe it was a slutter.
And that's enough from you. I have a lot of power. You're not getting on the show again. Bye. Yeah, just kidding. But yeah, anything else to add, Derek, before we wrap up?
No, I'm excited for this week. It should be a good week ahead. We got the Red Sox. The Blue Sox are at home.
Celtics.
We got the Celtics. When's the NHL draft lottery so I can pray for the Bruins getting the number 1 pick? Oh, real quick, because we're just talking about it. If the Bruins get the number 1 pick, can they defer it to 2026?
No.
Well, that's what all the baseball. That's what we're all doing with contracts. Can we defer a draft pick?
No, because you're not the Dodgers.
Defer it to 2026 and take Gavin McKenna, please.
Anywho, for Derek, I'm Jason. This was the Fenway Focus. We'll see you next time. Go Sox.